Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Yes.
We are back yet again. Another week. Many developments. You know, typically we like to start. And I'm sorry. This is the Everybody Has One podcast. I'm all excited to get into it.
It says you just ready to rock and roll.
I'm ready to rock and roll, man. I'm Jason Flake. I'm your host. I'm here with my co-host Lance Reynolds, aka the People's Champ.
What up, yo?
So we got a jam-packed show. So much to do in so little time. We typically like to start with some local sports, but since the Pistons haven't played this week and neither have the Lions, they played last Thursday, and we already talked about that game. We want to jump into a national headline that was a bit shocking. Bill Belichick is going to be the new football coach for the University of North Carolina Tar Heels football program, which is insane. He reportedly, and I'm saying reportedly, you know, there's always fuzzy details around the college coaches and their salaries, but reportedly it's a 5-year, $50 million deal. 3 of the years are guaranteed, so there's $30 million in guarantees. There's about $3.5 million in incentives, if I read that correctly, that are tied to where he finishes in the standings, or the rankings, I should say. It's college, and whether or not he wins the conference and obviously makes it to the college football playoff. So I will yield to my co-host. I'll get your impressions of it first. How do you feel about that?
Man, this was crazy. I mean, I was hearing the rumblings about it, but when it finally happened, because I really thought it was a rumor, I was like, damn. But I mean, 5 years, $10 million a year. I mean, it's a good enough reason. But what I heard is that Bill is kind of doing it as like a big FU to the NFL. And I mean, if that's the case, I mean, good.
Right.
I mean, I like how, if Bill Belichick wants to coach, how is he not coaching?
Right. I mean,
like, that's crazy. I mean, you've got the Jets, the Jaguars. I mean, pick a team. The Cardinals.
Yeah.
I mean, there's plenty of teams out here where you have no excuse if Bill Belichick wants to continue to coach, where you don't pick up the phone and be like, well, can you, at least come sit down and talk to us and
right.
see what's going on. So that was the first thing I thought when I heard that. Like, well, if that's his way of saying, you know what, stick it to the league, then, I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
Then secondly, I thought, I mean, for college football, I mean, Bill Belichick changes things, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking the greatest, arguably, but I mean, if you want to look up in terms of the trophies.
I don't think it's arguable. Okay. I think he's the greatest NFL coach of all time.
Fine. Coaching college football, I mean, but North Carolina, though.
Yeah.
I think that's the one thing that's got me scratching my head in terms of, you don't think North Carolina when you think college football. College basketball, yeah. But college football, I mean, shout out to Drake May. I mean, it looks like he's turning it around a little bit at New England finally. But, I mean, outside of that, I mean, well, that's the house Mitch Trubisky built. And, we seen how that worked out.
Yeah, so I had a couple of thoughts when I heard about Bill Belichick signing in college at the age of 72. Right. When you look across the college landscape, first of all, and you look at the powerhouse programs, most of those coaches are young, right? Like you got Dan Lanning at Oregon, even Ryan Day, I told you he's James Franklin's spirit animal. Neither one of them can ever win a big game at Ohio State, though. And then you got man, I'm drawing a blank on the guy at Alabama that just came from Washington. Oh, man. I'll come back to him. But you got the kid at Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin's son?
Oh,
I mean, no, he is. I'm sorry, he's Monty Kiffin's son. Lane Kiffin.
You talking about Monty Kiffin's
Monty
kid,
Kiffin's
Lane
son.
Kiffin.
That Lane Kiffin is at Ole Miss. So my point is that the landscape of college football, there's a number of very young coaches, even Sharon Moore at Michigan, and Smith up at Michigan State. The landscape is getting much younger, and I guess my only reason for bringing that up is I'm sure that Bill Belichick can still coach. And also, a lot of the rumblings when he was interviewing, because he interviewed for the Atlanta job, and I even think he got a second interview.
Yeah, right.
But the bone of contention was that he wants personnel control, and they don't want to give it to him. Well, obviously in college, that's not a problem. He's going to have the personnel control. But does he feel like recruiting? Is he going to feel like going and sitting in living rooms, right, and talking to 18-year-old kids about coming to UNC? And then, I don't want to say that Bill Belichick has the personality of a paper plate,
right?
But he's not necessarily what you would consider relatable to an 18-year-old kid. However,
right.
So so that was one thought. I'm like, is he going to be able to recruit? Is he going? However, I say that to say, I contrast that by saying college football ain't really like it used to be, though. You don't really have to recruit. Like, he can send out some recruiters to recruit.
Yeah.
And you can kind of buy the players you need now.
Yeah, I mean.
The cat is out of the bag with the money now. It's just like, hey, I need me a linebacker. Instead of going to, West Virginia to get the number one linebacker recruit, I'm just going to buy me a linebacker that's in the portal already. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Happy Kuikenberg.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Like go get, I mean, we can go talk to him. I'm going to send a recruiter out there to talk to him. But if I need a linebacker, I can just go buy a linebacker. And if I need a corner, because I remember in 2015, and I don't want to belabor the point, I'll come back to you. But I remember in 2015, I was reading an article. That's the year that Michigan State made the college football playoff.
Okay, right.
It was them. It was Alabama, Clemson, and Oklahoma. And I remember reading that, particularly Alabama, of their 75 roster players, 65 of them were 4- and 5-star recruits. So they basically they stacked up, and that was the most of anybody. I think Clemson was like 52 of their 75. Michigan State was like 28 of their 75. So they had like the least. But they were able to simply stack up talent at every position, and those guys simply sat there and waited their turn and hoped that they were able to get on the field. So you could have a 5-star recruit that may never touch the field at Alabama.
Right.
And Nick Saban essentially just has this treasure trove of talent there, to get use or not use, or he can just use the guy in front of him, or if one guy decide to stay an extra year. So I say all that to say there's no more stockpiling talent, right? There's plenty of 5-star recruit cornerbacks that you can go get that are going into their redshirt sophomore year, right? And that you can just say, instead of going to recruit one, I can just go to Alabama's roster or Clemson's roster or Auburn's roster and just say, hey, man, here's $500,000. Come on down to UNC. And you know for a fact, from a scheming standpoint and from an X's and O's standpoint, UNC's defense is going to be outstanding every year while Bill Belichick is the coach.
Yep.
He happens to be very hard on young quarterbacks, and last I checked, college football doesn't have anything but young quarterbacks. So he's going to show you multiple looks, multiple fronts. He's going to show you man, and then he's going to disguise it with cover. So, like those quarterbacks are going to hate to play UNC. And just this year, and then I'll come back to you, just this year, James Madison went into UNC and scored 70 points. Now, this is after the coach, Signetti,
left and went to Indiana.
And took a bunch of players with him.
Yeah, my cousin plays on James Madison.
Yeah.
Shout out, cuz.
Yeah. It's 70
Carter
points
Sweezy.
they went in there and smacked up. So I'm sure that this is in response to that. And yeah, so I'm very interested to see how this is going to go. I think that I think it portends very good things for the University of North Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, I think in terms to, I'm trying to think of which point I wanted to follow up on yours. Yeah, I think they become maybe a niche school, especially when you're talking like quarterback play.
Right.
When you've got Tom Brady a phone call away. I mean, he's doing Omaha Productions with Peyton Manning right now.
Right.
I mean, just that alone, I think will kind of help when you talk about that appeal to the younger, to players, to college kids.
Yeah, definitely.
When you say, bro, forget 6 degrees.
Yeah.
Like,
right. You'll be NFL ready if you come here and play.
I mean,
for me.
without saying it.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, he ain't got to go nowhere.
Right.
I called you.
Yeah. Yeah, most definitely.
You know what I mean? So I think how long?
Yeah.
And then also too, I was thinking Rich Rod going back to
West Virginia.
I saw
that.
I said, okay, so I see.
That's an interesting development.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to make of that. I haven't even formulated an opinion about that because it's so fresh.
But what it made me think is like, is this starting to be like the return of the retreads? Like, are we going to see like John Gruden show up somewhere?
Right.
These guys that, that maybe he's got a little itch and you mean, a lot of like,
Urban Meyer.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm saying a lot of like old school, like football purists are kind of getting turned off.
Yeah.
By the NFL product.
Right.
The college product is starting to get equally
attractive
financially.
Yeah.
I'm gonna send you some. My boy Will, shout out Will. He sent me. They were talking about the investment that corporations are looking to do with college teams.
Yeah.
As like an investment.
Oh yeah.
As like a 5-time, 15-time, 10-time factor type.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean because not to get too far off subject, but that's a great point because I
gotta send you that. It's wild.
You see the amount of money that is in live sports. Live sports is really the only thing that people watch live anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not watching any of my favorite shows live. I'm either DVRing them or I'm watching them on a streaming service, and I'm doing it without commercials.
Yep.
So what they're finding is people who buy commercial ads, they really only want to buy them for live sports because that's the only time you're getting any real eyes on your advertisement.
Yeah.
And, that's one of the reasons why, and I know we wanted to get into Juan Soto's contract. That's one of the reasons why he's got a $765 million?
$765.
Yeah, $765 million contract. That's why these players make what they make. And that's why it only makes sense that college players get paid. These guys are generating an enormous amount of money.
Yes.
And I mean, in the real world, let's stop playing. In the real world, when you generate a lot of money, you get some of it.
Yeah.
Stop with the free education. He getting to go to class and be on campus. Are you kidding? When you generate money in the real world, if you generating money for your boss, you getting some of that money. Are you leaving?
Joe 6-pack ass up talking about, well, you get a free education and free boarding.
I'm like, man, what are you talking about? Yeah, that education ain't free, first of all. He's earning it more than, I mean, like he's earning millions of dollars.
$12 beers.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Those $17 nachos.
Yeah,
we're not even going to get to the $130 jerseys. The season ticket packages starting at $3,500. Like,
they're selective. They're selectively amateur athletes. When it's time to pay them, they're amateur athletes. When it's time to sell tickets, TV rights, beers, hot dogs, then all of a sudden, everything looks like professional pricing at that point.
Quit it.
Make it $5 general admission, man, to come into the stadium and let me sit wherever I want. And then we can treat them like amateurs. But all of a sudden, then everything looks real NFL. You want to sit on the 50-yard line
when
in
the
the first
amenities
round?
match,
Yeah. Hey,
the
man.
compensation should.
Absolutely. So, but anyway, that was just a little tangent that we went on. But
that was breaking news. That that.
Yeah, the Rich Rods of West Virginia thing. Yeah, I'm like, what's that about?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I said, I'm gonna keep an eye. And one thing before we let that go, I was thinking too. Now, if Belichick starts winning, and reeling some off,
I think he will. I think.
So you say it's not a matter of if, a matter of when.
I think that North Carolina is going to be very good. I think that the only question is attracting the players. The quality of the coaching is going to be excellent. He's going to assemble the staff that's going to be excellent.
So here's my crazy brain question thought to you. If he starts to win and he reels a couple off, does Nasty Nick come back?
Nick Saban.
And just to see if he can match wits with him one time. Because that may be the closest he could ever get to really just measuring himself up. Because, I mean, competition is always going to be a meat measuring thing.
Yeah, you know that.
Pause, no Diddy, but I mean, that's what competition and athleticism. That's what it breaks down to. Like, let's see what's what. So, do you think maybe, or Urban Meyer, like you said earlier, like Belichick's here. They say he's the guy.
Right,
you get what I'm saying?
Let's see if we can.
Like they say he's that dude. He coming on my turf because Urban Meyer and Saban are regarded as the dudes when it comes to college football coaching in the modern era. That still, I would say, of ample able mind and health. Yeah, that would.
I almost
come back.
Expect Urban Meyer to show back.
You
up
get what I'm saying? So do they come back and say, "All right, Bill"? Let's see, because the money, like you say, the money's gonna be there, and then maybe Pete Carroll weasels his way back for some get back on the way out the door.
That's an interesting trio of names. So I think that just to respond very quickly, so we could, because we need to talk about the CFP.
This is what Belichick does, man.
Yeah. So just to deal with that trio of names, I think that there's a great likelihood for Urban Meyer and Pete Carroll. I'm not so sure about Nick Saban.
Okay.
And the reason why is Nick is used to that old way of doing things.
Bear Bryant.
That 65 4 and 5 stars on the 75-man roster. The reason he left, because he's still, he's very viable as a coach. He hasn't forgotten how to do it. I think that
the talent pool was getting diluted.
No. It wasn't getting diluted. It was getting the playing field was leveling. He likes to have all of the cards.
All the guys.
Exactly. Let's just call it what it is. He likes to have the best team. Yeah. There's a reason why he's got 7 national titles and nobody else
started stealing some.
Yeah, right. People start coming and stealing his recruits. Michigan came down there and got one. See, he likes it where he can have all the guys.
Yeah.
And
that's legit.
When everybody else starts coming and getting guys, and this one's getting a guy, and you getting no. He used to having the number 1 recruiting class in the country, and everybody else getting a couple of little cast-offs. He used to having getting basically all of the guys from just around his immediate area, all of the guys from Georgia and Northern Florida, and then everybody else can get the leftovers. See, the reason that he stomped off and took his ball and went home, now this is all my theory, this is all my conjecture, is because he saw that playing field getting a little too level, and he like, you know what, I don't really have anything else to prove. I'm an older guy. I've done a lot of winning, and I don't want to roll with these changes. I mean, he was the first one complaining too. He was the first one that jumped out there like, this ain't fair. Oh, it's fair.
Right.
You just don't like fair.
Right.
Fair is not what you used to. Exactly. Fair is not what you used to. You used to winning. You used to the game of I win. You remember on Big Daddy, like, what's this game called? This game is called I win. I can win with an ace, a queen, a 2, a 3. No, this is called everybody else is now buying the players that they need, building out the rosters that they need, and now you might win. You might lose a game or two every year. Now all of a sudden, Georgia's roster looks similar to yours.
We'll pay that kid to stay home.
And it's a toss-up now. You can't just go to Northern Georgia and get all the guys no more.
Yeah, they'll go to Georgia.
Exactly. Yeah, and yeah, so that I think that's, but the other two is more intriguing because I think that they would be more willing to adapt to the new way of doing things. You know,
because that's all they were doing the whole damn time.
Yeah,
anyway,
I know, right?
When it wasn't legal.
They was just cheating.
It was just like, oh, bet. It's like they could probably sleep easy now.
Right. Yeah, and I think
no
that
more headaches for Urban now because he can do it freely.
Yeah, they're more amenable to doing. We'll just coach this team this year and figure it out next year. Where Nick Saban, he likes to be able to make a 5-year plan. So, but transitioning from there, speaking of Alabama, they were the first team out. It looks like of the college football playoff. The SEC, the SEC did get a couple of teams in, right? They got Texas, they got Tennessee, and Georgia. So what are your impressions of the college football playoff bracket? You got any sleepers in there? You got any wild predictions?
Well, let's see. Clemson, Texas. I don't think I could ever really openly root for Dabo Swinney out loud.
He's such an interesting dude.
So, but I mean, I'm rooting for Texas to win, but I have either one of those losing to Arizona State.
Oh, okay. So you one of the ones you like Scatterboo?
Yeah,
you think Scatterboo?
Yeah, I like the
problem.
Yeah, I like the.
You don't think Arizona State?
I like the DGAF mentality at Arizona State.
Yeah, so you don't think they're a little too one-dimensional? Texas might just load the box, try to stop him, and
I mean they can try it, but Yeah,
many have tried, most have failed.
They could try it. Tennessee, Ohio State. I mean, our buddy Ryan Day. I'm sure his throat's still a little sore from that choke job at Michigan. But I think they beat Tennessee.
Okay,
but
Tennessee's defense is very good though.
But I have them losing to Dirty Dan Lanning.
Yeah,
at Oregon.
Okay.
Listen, man, you can set up your man James Franklin at home, cater the party. He will find a way to lose.
Oh man,
I've got SMU.
You got SMU with the upset?
Man. James Franklin can't win a big game, a game of any stakes.
Yeah, I'm
SMU.
not a James Franklin guy, so I won't argue.
I don't trust a man with any game of stakes
at all.
I got SMU.
I have to agree with you.
And then I've got, let's see, Indiana / James Madison
North
versus Notre Dame.
Yeah,
at home. I tell you this, Mr. Freeman, you better not lose this game.
Oh yeah, I know.
I mean, listen, TV likes fair-skinned, well-spoken, chiseled-faced Negroes. You will be right on there if you mess around and lose it. Your rope ain't that long, dog, and we know why.
Yeah, I know.
You need to win this game at home.
So you said that Northern Illinois loss is still lingering and real funky in the room right now. Yeah, you better get this one done. I agree with you.
You need to win this game.
I'm like, that Northern Illinois loss was ugly. And one of the kids my son ran track with, Muhammad, goes through Northern Illinois. He's a safety for them. So shout out to Muhammad. Man.
Okay, shout out. Now, Notre Dame after that. See, Georgia, I mean, it's the Carson Beck thing.
Right, man. He's so up and down. Like, which Carson Beck is going to show up?
That's the thing. Like,
they're saying this dude was like potentially the number 1 pick in the draft. I think that's over with, but.
So that being said, through all the muck, for the Natty, I've got Georgia, Oregon.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
I've got Dirty Dan Lanning.
Yeah, for the Natty, I do too.
Hoisting that thing in the air.
I do too. I think they just too talented offensively, man. Tez Johnson, what's the running back? Jordan James.
Yeah,
they loaded offensively, man.
Yeah, Jordan James is nasty.
Yeah, they loaded offensively. They got a ton of offensive weapons. Yeah. I think that Oregon is probably the best team. They certainly are the most explosive offense. And I mean, on paper, I agree. I think it should be Georgia. Particularly because I like them against either Notre Dame or Indiana.
Right, that's what I'll say. I like them against either one of those. Yeah. And like I said, Notre Dame, you have no choice.
Right. Yeah.
Like you better be there. But yeah, I get you right.
So yeah, I also think that because of the matchups and the path, I think that Georgia and Oregon is probably the most likely matchup, but Georgia just has not looked good
all year
at times this year. I mean, getting in a shootout with Georgia Tech, and Georgia's staple is defense.
It's like, who are they?
Yeah.
Like what's Georgia football this year?
Right. Because Kirby Smart is typically a great defensive coach.
Right.
They usually are going to be known to play great defense, and then they shooting it out into the 40s with Georgia Tech, and it's like, who's on Georgia Tech? They're probably a bunch of guys that are going to be wearing suits to work when they leave college. So it's going to be interesting. I'm excited about the college football playoff. I was for the expansion to 12 teams.
First 12-team playoff.
Yeah, I was very much in favor of them expanding to 12 teams.
Do you think they should stop at 12?
For now.
Okay.
Yeah, for now, but I, it's always about the money, man. So we'll see.
Right. So basically, what you're saying is this is the experiment.
Correct.
And it depends how much in the black, because everyone ends up when it's all said and done, to see how many more teams they can squeeze into the black.
Because I'm just looking at this bracket. It's a lot of bye weeks. You see, look at all these buys, man.
Yeah, right.
That's money.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's money sitting home this first week.
Real. That's real. And we can fill that up.
Correct.
With some play these guys.
More games, yeah.
For sure.
Right, yeah. Like, do we need 1, 2, 3, 4 buys? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe only 2 teams get a bye and we add another couple of matchups. So, yeah, I can imagine that it could expand to 16. But we'll see. Let's just see how this one goes. And, I'm sure, listen, man, more college football is always good. College football seldomly disappoints.
Hell, I'll watch it.
Yeah, I was gonna say it seldomly disappoints. We want more football. Football is definitely king in this country.
Right.
People love it. So we'll see how this works out. So let's transition real quick, man, to some other. I'm gonna call it bizarre news.
What's on your mind, bro?
I found it bizarre when I heard Tank Davis say that he was going to retire after 2025. That was weird.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
As we transition into boxing, we don't talk a lot of combat sports here. I mean, I got to tell you, full disclosure, I'm not a UFC guy. It's way too much grappling. Dudes in their underwear on the ground. Grappling is not my thing, but anybody that like that, don't take it personally, man. I have my UFC friends running up on me, man, watch this. Watch, man. And then every time I watch a fight, man, there's 2 dudes on the ground, looking like they wrestling before coitus. So I'm like, this look like pre-coital wrestling, bro. I'm out. I don't want to watch UFC. But I know a lot of people are in the UFC, so we're not going to talk a lot of UFC here, man. I just, just so you know. But when we start taking callers, man, which will hopefully not be into the too distant future, y'all can bring up some of those combat sports, man, and we'll do our best to indulge you. But Tank Davis, the current 135-pound champ. I think he fought once at 140, but he is the reigning 135-pound champ. He's on the pound-for-pound list. It's great. He is a great fighter by all accounts. Probably the most sought-after name in the sport currently. And he has announced that he would like to retire after 2025. Now, he has said that he would like to fight 3 times in 2025. He's got a fight scheduled now with Lamont Roach Jr.
The Reaper.
Yeah. What is that? Is it in March?
March 1st.
Yeah, March 1st. Yeah. So he's going to fight Lamont Roach Jr. on March 1st. And then he said he would like to fight another couple of times after that. And then he is interested in retirement. Now, I'll take it first on this go round. So a couple of things came to mind when he mentioned that. So Floyd Mayweather, who, was previously his mentor, I know that they have, fallen out of favor with one another, but he was previously his mentor. Mm-hmm. Floyd retired a couple of times in his career. Now, in hindsight, we know that those were pretty much negotiation ploys to get out of contracts, one with Top Rank and I think the other one with Golden Boy, but don't quote me on that. I think he was looking to go independent after the second one, and then that's when he signed that big deal with Showtime.
Yeah, I believe it. Yeah. I believe you're right.
But so this, it's possible that this is that he just is interested in getting out of his current deal. I didn't look up what his current deal was and how much he was making. I'm sure he's well paid, but he could probably either doing independent promotion or being a free agent command quite a big bag because he's probably the biggest pay-per-view draw right now. I can't think of another name that's more box office attractive than his. So that was my first thought. I'm like, well, maybe this is a negotiating tactic. Maybe he's like, look, I'm going to retire. I'm going to sit it out for a minute. And then I'm going to wait for the highest bidder to come and say, look, we'll give you $500 million, to come and fight for us, 7 times or whatever it is.
Right.
So
the Prince.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. The guy.
He'll break bread
from Riyadh Seasons. Yeah. He likes
respect though. He love the sport.
He loves the sport. Yeah. So that was my first thought. That perhaps this is a negotiation tactic. But then I've heard him talk about it a couple of more times, and he's clarified that there's an animalistic thing that you have to have when you're in combat sports. And he's like, I kind of want to get away from that personally so that I can work on myself personally, again, which I respect. And I'm sure that, he's probably got enough money to last him for the rest of his life. He's obviously made millions and millions of dollars and will make millions and millions more if he in fact does fight 3 times in 2025. So, I don't really have a problem with him wanting to retire, but that's on the business side, personal side. Now let's talk about legacy. It's not as if you've cleaned out the division. You haven't even fought the other 2 big names in the 135 division, which is Shakur Stevenson and Devin Haney. Now, of course, we know Devin Haney got beat by Ryan Garcia, but
on the juice.
Yeah, but he was on the juice, so they struck that off of his record. It's not as if we can unsee it, but that's a conversation for another day.
Right.
So in terms of legacy, you haven't really cleaned out the division. You haven't necessarily had that signature win. I mean, he beat Pitbull Cruz. He did beat Ryan Garcia. Did he beat Teofimo? Did he fight Teofimo?
Tank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Well,
he fought and beat Teofimo Lopez. I mean, those are very good wins. I don't know where those put you on the pantheon of great fighters. I don't know where they put you in the pantheon of great lightweights. But I'll yield it to you because I'm interested to know what you think about it. And where do you think he stands, in with respect to lightweights in the history of boxing if he does, in fact, fight 3 more times?
Tank, man, if that one point that you had made about his reasoning for him contemplating retiring, I mean, if that's truly, something that he's, internally been exploring and going through, I mean, I can't really.
Right. Yeah, that's his personal business.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really begrudge him that. You know what I mean? So, I mean, if that's legitimate, and I can't say it is or isn't, okay. Now, that aside, me, the boxing fan.
Right.
Man, forget all that. I'm sick of boxing doing this shit, man. You get what I'm saying? Because me as a boxing fan, I immediately go into, here we go again with this, man. This is because he knows at the end of the day, he's nipping and jarring at time.
Right.
And when you, I want to say Tank's 30 now.
Mm-hmm. I believe so, yeah.
You start to, you start to, look at things a little different. You know what I mean? He might even be older than 30. He 30, 34 maybe?
No, he's 30.
He's 30 years old.
Yep.
Okay, he's 30 and he's, okay.
He just turned 30.
He just turned 30, okay. So he's 30 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and you've been doing what he's been doing since he was a wee child. Yeah, I can kind of understand that. And it kind of gets to the point where, is the juice worth the squeeze?
Right.
You know what I mean? And boxing just kind of has a way of not making the juice worth the squeeze 9 out of 10 times.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? We always get the fight we're looking for 10 years too late.
Right, always.
You know what I mean? And it's the same thing, like you say. The second thing I thought was, what does this mean for Shakur Stevenson?
Right.
You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he's been having his own, I guess, internal issues in terms of what he wants to do fighting. I think it kind of stems back to me personally. I think it stems back to him standing right next to Takeoff when he got what happened to him.
Yes.
Like, he was standing right next to him. You know, if you've seen that footage, Shakur Stevenson is literally standing right next to Takeoff.
Yeah.
And Takeoff just drops. And Shakur looks. And then everybody start, like, he was literally standing right. So that bullet could have easily, been intended. So, and I've never heard him really go in depth talking about that.
Yeah.
Not to armchair, anybody. But I mean, it'd be totally understandable if that's something in the back
that's
head.
In his head,
I'd have to be totally, that mortality when you're in a sport like boxing.
Yeah.
To have something like that happen to expose, could kind of alter that edge that you enter the ring with. Mm-hmm. So that's the Shakur aspect to a degree. But, Shakur needs the Tank fight. I think the Tank needs the Shakur fight for either one of them to solidify any type of legacy when you're talking all-time greats.
Yeah. Yep, I agree. Yeah, I think so, too. I don't think that Tank has done enough to be considered. I mean, maybe he is one of the best.
My nigga, if we, not to cut you off, my nigga, but if we talking like 20 years removed, where cats now is talking and questioning the run that was of Roy Jones Jr.,
right? They
sure as hell gonna question 10 years from now, whatever Tank Davis did. And this ain't no knock on Tank. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree.
And again, it's back to the boxing thing.
I don't know how great these fighters that he beat are going to be considered.
It's back to what we're talking about. Boxing doesn't provide the proven grounds for these fighters to solidify their claim.
Yeah.
Whereas UFC, Dana White manages every 30 days to put the fight together everybody wants to see.
Right, yeah, that's because he has a monopoly on the sport.
Exactly.
Essentially. Like there is no other mixed martial arts. It's all UFC. Like when there was other league, those other leagues have been stamped out.
He bought them all out.
Yeah, he stamped them out.
But the thing about it is he collaborated with other people with big money that say, hey, this makes sense.
Yeah.
Let's hop in on it. That's where you get the TKO, WWE deal and all of that stuff. Right. But boxing, again, has been stuck to, I mean, we're talking the same business practices from the 1890s, 1900s, literally. But
even back in the day, I mean, they managed to make great fights. I mean, Hearns
promoters
managed.
and fighters did work in sync a lot more. Absolutely.
Hearns fought Sugar Ray Leonard. They fought in their prime. Duran and Leonard fought in their prime. They fought twice.
And Leonard,
yeah,
Hagler and
well, I mean,
Hearns.
Hagler and Leonard fought a little late.
They were older,
but Hearns and Hagler fought.
For
you know
certain.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like they, I mean, so they managed to make more fights. It seems like
Absolutely.
back then than now. Like that now, it seems like.
I mean, this has been happening since the late 90s.
Right. Yeah.
Since I would say maybe late 90s, man, because I would say after, we were able to get like the Oscar Trinidads and all of those fights and the Mosley fights. After that era, man, it really kind of fizzled out.
Yeah, I mean, even in the heavyweight division,
man,
we never got
super fights.
We never got Riddick Bowe and Mike Tyson. You know what I'm saying? Like it was so many fights. I don't think we ever got. Did we ever get Riddick Bowe and Lennox Lewis? I don't even think we ever got that one. I don't think he fought. I remember that was a big rivalry.
Riddick Bowe, Lennox Lewis.
I don't think we got that because I remember Riddick Bowe taking the belt and throwing it in the trash when they said that Lennox Lewis was the #1 contender and the mandatory.
I believe they were scheduled to fight.
Right.
God, that was a lot. I know they were scheduled to fight. Did they fight?
I don't think they did. I don't think they ever got in the ring together.
I think you're right.
Yep.
I think it was scheduled to fight, but it never went down.
Yeah, because I think, man,
hold on, I gotta find out.
Yeah,
now.
forgive my bad memory.
I gotta find out.
Somehow Evander Holyfield got in there because he fought Evander Holyfield twice. Lennox Lewis did, but no, I don't think he ever fought Big Daddy. And I'm like that. See, and that was that was the first time I really remember a matchup that the public was clamoring for that didn't happen. That just they were two. Yep, there was two separate promotional bodies, and I remember them telling Riddick Bowe.
See, this was exactly 30 years ago.
I remember them telling Riddick Bowe that Lennox Lewis was his mandatory.
Yeah.
And him taking the belt and throwing it in the trash, on video.
Yep, I remember. Damn.
And him saying, "No, I ain't doing that."
That was like 94.
Yeah, that was long. Yeah, I was a kid. I was in school. I was at school age, and I remember him doing that then. And I'm like, what's the problem? I'm like, I'm sure that, like being a kid, you don't know all of the ins and outs.
So who did Bowe beat for the belt? Did he beat Michael Moore?
Man, who did Bowe beat for the belt? Man,
because Moore beat Holyfield.
Yep. And then I think they had a rematch, and then I think Holyfield beat him.
And then Bowe beat Holyfield.
Yes. Yep, I think Bowe beat Holyfield. Yep, because they fought 3 times. Yep. Yes, that's what it was. And then that's how Evander Holyfield, because he just ended up beating Bowe, and then he fought Lennox Lewis.
Yep.
Yeah, and they had 2 great fights, by the way.
Yep. Damn, 30 years. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That makes me feel really old. Damn.
But that's the thing. You're right, though. Your point is taken, though. De La Hoya and Mayweather, we got that too late, in 07. That was too late.
Way too late.
Pacquiao Mayweather, that was too
way
late.
Too late.
That was after it was interesting. Like that fight should have happened in 2011.
Triple G and anybody relevant.
Correct. That happened too late. Yeah. I mean, all of it. You're right. These fights, they failed to happen in the right time in the fighters' primes because you have these warring promotional groups. They want to protect their fighters' records.
Yeah.
And everybody want to be the A side. I remember Roy Jones and Bernard Hopkins. I remember them arguing about a fight. I think they eventually did fight, but I remember them arguing back and forth.
Well, yeah, because see, Roy beat Bernard Hopkins relatively early.
You're right, when they were middleweight.
Bernard was a different fighter later on.
Correct.
And Roy was always like, man, I beat you once. You got to come see me. And Roy was always like 60-40 or it ain't happening.
60-40, right. Roy, I need the bigger bag.
Roy was like 60-40, it ain't happening.
And I think that Mayweather was kind of in that posture as well with Pacquiao. He's like, I'm the bigger pay-per-view draw. So, well, at first, I think in 2011, it broke down over, because Mayweather had those stringent drug testing.
Yeah, he wanted Pacquiao to do the drugs for the horse, whatever.
Yeah, he wanted random blood and urine all the way up to fight time. He we can test you up to fight time. And reportedly Pacquiao said no, we ain't doing that. He was like, we'll do the U.S. anti-doping standards, and Mayweather had his own standards.
Right. So
I
remember that.
Yeah, so that broke down but that was back in HBO times. That was 2011. But yeah, I agree with you. I'm like, I don't want to see Shakur and Tank fight in 10 years, know, when nobody cares.
They need to fight before 2025 is over.
I agree. I'm like, if you're going to fight 2 more times, man, I don't care.
2 of those fights need to be against Shakur Stevenson.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you're gonna fight twice, at least one. I mean, if it's a blowout, then fine, Or Haney. I mean, at least Haney, at least. And then I question why he said he doesn't feel comfortable fighting at 140. I can understand that.
I mean, he's what, 5'5"?
Yeah, I mean, he's a little dude, but I'm like, because welterweight has for the past 4 decades been the best weight class.
Yeah, I agree.
That's the money class. I would think that there would be great fights up there for him, but I think that he's apprehensive. I mean, and maybe he just can't make the weight. I mean, that could be. I mean, Floyd Mayweather, I don't think he ever weighed in at anything over 152. Like, even the junior middleweight fights, he was like,
maybe he loses some of his speed.
Yeah. Like, I don't know.
Because sometimes because sometimes his speed that he has, his natural speed, maybe doesn't scale up with his weight. Because sometimes it could be to a detriment.
And I kind of understand him not wanting, because there's not really anybody at 140.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're going to go up, you're going to go to 147 because that's where the money is. It's some 147 fights. But to go to 140, I'm like, who's at 140 that anybody cares to see him fight? I think that was Ryan Garcia was the only guy at 140. He already beat him. So, like, what's the point?
With the body shot.
Yeah, right. He hit him with the liver shot and knocked him out. So, I'm like, what's at 140 for him? So, yeah. So, maybe, I'm like, if you clean out the division, then maybe retirement does make sense for him. Maybe that is, the right idea. So, real quick, man, because we coming down to it. Let's preview the Lions and the Bills real quick, man.
Yes, sir.
We got them coming in on Sunday. A lot of people are nervous. A lot of people are saying, man, the Bills they got beat. Up down theory. They just lost a close game. The Lions just won a close game. What do you believe? You believe the Lions are going to pull this one out at home, or you think the Bills are coming in focused and ready to get back on the winning track?
Oh, man. Well, I'm not scared of the Buffalo Bills because they're the Buffalo Bills. I mean, that's how I see
my
it.
dad. History.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I see it. I mean, Josh Allen had, 6 touchdowns last week?
Yeah.
L.
Caught an L. Yeah, that defense looked really pathetic.
And, I mean, Josh Allen could easily come in here and put up some great numbers, but as long as we handle our business in the red zone, I think we'll be all right. I mean, I think the Lions will win. They haven't shown me any evidence that they would lose to Buffalo.
Yeah, I tend to feel the same way.
What's the injury report? Do we have anybody coming back?
You know what? It's Thursday, and they still cryptic about the injury report. So they not. I've been checking all day. I think DJ Reader is probable.
Okay.
I'm mostly concerned about the defensive linemen.
Yeah.
So I would hope that we would get some of those guys back.
McNeil?
Yeah, they say
he in concussion protocol, right?
Yep. DJ Reader does return.
Okay.
The Bills are missing 3 DBs. I can't imagine that they got hurt in the Rams game because I didn't see them doing nothing.
Yeah.
But
that's bad timing for them.
Yeah, and also just on a side note, they play zone all day, and I'm like, playing zone against Matthew Stafford all day. That's not smart. I'm like, man, you say what you want about Stafford, man. You give him the same look all day long,
he will carve
you
you
in
up.
for a long day because the dude can put the ball where he wants to put the ball.
One thing he likes to do is throw the ball all over the field.
Yeah, I was gonna say he can put the ball where he wants to put the ball. Playing zone against him, they gave him the same look all day. I'm like, yeah, that's not smart. That's bad coaching. So. Yeah, I'm not afraid of the Buffalo Bills either.
And not only that, man, we're still, not at the point where we can take the foot off the gas. They can't afford it. I mean, you still got Minnesota and Philly chipping at their heels. I mean, they're, so we have to sustain and, just keep the foot on it, man.
I agree.
So, yeah, I think they have every incentive to win. And, yeah, I think they do it.
Yep, I tend to agree with that. Real quick, the Pistons. They haven't played yet this week. Last time they were on the floor, they got a big win over the Knicks.
MSG.
At Madison Square Garden. They played very well. Jalen Duren continues to look lethargic. We kind of texted back and forth about that.
Yeah, that was.
He did not have a defensive rebound in that game, which is insane.
Yeah.
He's the biggest, strongest guy on the court because Karl Anthony Towns did not play that game.
Yep.
And he still didn't have a defensive rebound. His regression, what I find very conspicuous, and what I mean is conspicuous by its absence, is how little anybody on the post game or the pre-game or the in-game call actually says anything about it.
Because they're all nerds.
Right.
Listen, with everything that you said about Jalen Duren, these idiots will look at the box score and they'll see that he had a plus 18.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. But
he was not a plus factor 18 in that game.
He was not.
He was loitering half the time, dude. Seriously. Yeah. Like that whole entire first half, he did nothing.
Yeah.
He did nothing. It wasn't until the second half where Cade was spoon feeding him lobs.
Yep.
Where you finally realized that he was out there on the court.
Yeah. He was very disappointing. And I find that
plus 18 my ass.
I find his play to be distressing at this point. And I don't know what the coaching staff is going to do about it. I just don't know. I did hear Greg Kelser say that.
Oh God!
I like Mr. Kelser, man. He's a personal friend, but I did hear him say that he's getting in early foul trouble and that's hampering his game. Which I mean, some of that is true, but Jalen Duren is averaging the exact same number of fouls this year that he averaged last year. So I can't go with that. I can't. That's not the reason why he's not giving effort on the glass. That can't be the reason.
Is it Angel Reese?
Right. Is that it? Is that the rumor?
I mean, that's what the streets is saying.
I mean, listen, man. And tell her to put some clothes on, man. She's distracting him.
I mean, no, he needs to rebound like she do.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Hell, rub off on him.
Right.
She played more aggressive than he has all season.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the young man.
I mean, shoot. I mean, don't finish like she do.
Right.
But I mean, rebound like she do. I mean, do we officially have a Jalen Duren problem, bro? Because
we do.
Like I said before, I didn't see him not look, he not be disinterested.
Yeah.
Whereas now I see him out there where he just kind of has the Charlie Brown posture out there, dude. And I'm just like, nah, that's not it, bro.
The body language is poor.
And and him with his stature, it stands out.
Yep.
You get what I mean? Because
he's huge.
And again, I what have you done for me lately? That last Knicks game. Soon as Isaiah Stewart got in the game, he immediately got 3 rebounds.
Yep, he did.
He immediately got 3 rebounds, like 2 on 1 possession. And literally at that point, Jalen Duren was at 0 rebounds, and he had played an entire half.
Yep.
I was like, man, come on, man. That you get what I'm saying? Like that's an effort thing. And I don't like to question the players' effort, but that was glaring to me.
And he didn't play tonight.
Really?
He's not in the lineup.
Duren. Is he a DNP? CD?
Nope. He's not in the lineup.
Oh, so they just scratched him.
They just scratched him. I don't know why. I don't know if he's injured. I don't know what it is.
Wow.
I didn't see him.
They don't have anything in parentheses like feelings or anything like that.
With this modern league, I have no idea. But yeah, I just checked the box scores just since we were talking about him, and nothing.
That's wild.
Nothing. Yep, because they playing right now.
While we're on the Pistons, real quick.
Oh, wrist injury. They saying. The jokes write themselves.
I didn't do anything.
Right. But that's really what it said too.
Do you think Cade's performance at MSG solidifies his All-Star status?
He should definitely be an All-Star. I mean, he's playing at an All-NBA level. Forget All-Star. He's playing great. Yeah, right now he's playing at an All-NBA level.
All-NBA, you say?
Yeah. Yep.
I'm not here to argue, but wow, you might have been the first cat I heard proclaim such a thing.
I'm standing on it, man.
Okay.
24, 9, and 7. That's what he averaged in this season. I'm standing on that. That's all NBA number.
Yeah, certain few players I know, if there's a different last name, that would be MVP numbers, and I'll just leave it at that.
All right, let's do some quick rapid fire, man. We touched on
Come on with it.
We touched on the All-Star game last time, man. The new tournament style formats. I heard Doris Burke say she didn't want that either, so she concurs with you that that's not going to bring any competitiveness to the All-Star game. Give me your impressions real quick on the Emirates Cup. They held us captive with 2 games on Tuesday, 2 games on Wednesday. The Stars did not shine, but they that floor in Houston was an eyesore. But
it literally was.
Yeah, they continue to give us these Emirates Cup games or this in-season tournament. So I'll take your impressions on that.
I'm over it. I mean, first of all, like that Houston game, that court was torture, dude. Dude, I'm like, nah, this can't get, like, do they pre-screen the court, like when they think about it? Do they like let people see it on camera to see how it would affect people with like light sensitive, medical
had one
conditions?
Of them warnings before the game.
Man,
like if you
I had to like turn away from that game a couple of times. I'm like, dude, I can't. Like,
I literally said that to my wife when she walked in the room.
No, okay,
I'm like,
so it wasn't just me.
I got to look away from this game.
I had to turn away from it a couple of times, literally, because
my
that
eyes are hurting.
Magenta court or whatever it was like beating my eyes up, bro. But yeah, I mean, again, it's a clout tournament, and like I usually agree with a lot of what Doris Burke says analytically in terms of basketball.
I do too. I actually like her.
But I couldn't be in more of a disagreement with her in terms of the play-in tournament and the Emeritus Cup tournament. Yeah. I think both of them suck.
I like the play-in tournament. The Emirates Cup.
Like, dude, like
they can flush that down the toilet.
Dude, like. Nah, bro. Like the last play, dude. If you like the 12th seed, you the 12th seed. You suck. You know what I'm saying? Like you ain't played for shit all year. Don't fake it. The last 5 days, nah, bro. Like I miss me with the play-in tournament, bro. If you've been dragging ass and stanking it up the all season, and you like an 11, 12, 13 seed. Like, don't bog me down.
I think it's just 6 through 10, or 7 through 10.
They make the news about all these teams that got a shot at the bottom because of the play-in tournament. Like, no. You still as sorry as you was in November, in April. There's no news. You know what I'm saying? And listen, dude, next time I promise you, I got something for this NBA All-Star Weekend fiasco that I'm gonna fix. I promise you, I got
Till
y'all.
next time, y'all, man. Everybody has one podcast, man. Peace.